Well, thank you for joining us. We're on to another part of the show. It's still Sports Tonight on your award-winning channels television. But this part of the show, as we announced earlier, we'll be talking Copa America Centenario. And CC and Tayo are with me on this part of the show. Guys, now we've concluded all the group games. We have separated the 8 out of the 16. This is where the tournament really begins. But first round of games, I mean the group games, Tayo, major casualty has got to be Carlos Dunga that was sacked yesterday.
Yes.
These Brazilians have got no chill. As we were saying earlier on, you
no
fail to deliver, don't wait for yourself to be sacked, just go.
Incredible stuff, right? I mean, the last time Carlos Dunga was sacked, and that was in 2010, after crashing out in the quarterfinals of the World Cup. He said after then he was going to resign, but they didn't wait for him to resign. They made sure they sacked him. So I don't know if the Brazilian Football Federation have, are very infatuated with sacking coaches. But seriously now, Brazil, very embarrassing the way they left the competition. It's not acceptable. No matter what happened, you expect Brazil, to come through a group like that. So, yeah, Carlos Dunga, it's a shame, but that's the nature of coaching. He's an absolute Brazil legend, but it doesn't stop them from sacking him if he doesn't deliver the results.
I'm going to come to ask you, Sisi, what's the future for Brazil after Dunga? But let's pause on that a little bit. We'll talk about Dunga and Brazil later on the show. Let's start off by showing you results of games played earlier today. The final rounds of games in Group D, and the Argentines are really cruising. Chile, well, it was a nervy end to the stuff, but they were still able to do the job 4-2. Sanchez coming good for them at the end of the day.
Yes.
And that was the difference at the end of it all. Chile 4-2, Argentina winning comfortably 3-0. Messi again coming in as the second half substitute after the job had been done in the first half. But this time he's keeping his goals for the quarterfinals. Let's take a look at the table now. Sisi.
Yeah, that's what it is.
3 out of 3 for Argentina.
Yeah, definitely 100% record. The only team that actually did this in the tournament. Before it started, we actually said they are favorites for this tournament. With Brazil and, of course, Uruguay out of it, Argentina definitely, they don't have any excuse right now. Chile, of course, they won 2 games and they were able to finish with 6 points. Panama, of course, only 1 game they won against Bolivia. Bolivia, of course, well, they went out without getting a point from this one. It was expected, but their game against Argentina, all the 3 goals scored in the first half, and Lionel Messi, as you said, made an appearance, but it was the 45 minutes after the goals had been scored, the business had been done.
They scored their goals very early in that game.
Exactly.
Before 30 minutes, the job had been done.
That's it. Eric Lamela, Ezekiel Lavenzi, Victor Cuesto, 3 of them coming to the party. And that's what we're talking about with a team. When you have a good squad, everyone can actually play to their strength. You don't have to rely on the big player to play. Without Messi not playing in their first game, and even their second game, he came and make a cameo appearance.
They have a lot of big boys. Not one
and
big boy.
And the big boys are playing.
And the big boys are playing.
That's
coming to the party.
What if the big boys are not playing and they're relying on just the
only one big boy?
That's it.
Then the
so
team the weight will be too heavy for the big boy, and he won't be able to deliver. So that's how it ended in Group D. And of course, with the rounds of games in Group D over, the group stages of Copa America games are concluded. We now have an idea of what it looks like in the quarterfinals. Let's take a quick look now at what the pairings are for the quarterfinals. This is where the tournament really begins. The hosts are taking on Ecuador,
yes.
Argentina taking on Venezuela, Peru against Colombia, Mexico against Chile. Tayo, which one is the big game for you?
Surely it has to be the matchup between Mexico and Chile. This is one of those games where, form is thrown out the window, rankings thrown out the window. Chile, ranked 3rd in the world. Mexico way down in 16. But it's so hard to predict what's going to come out this game. Mexico, I believe we will have most of the support behind them. But Chile are defending champions, and with great players like Eduardo Vargas and Alexis Sanchez, and they finally came to the party yesterday. They might just have the edge in that one. But it's so close to call time. It's close.
Sisi, Argentina, Venezuela, another good game to look forward to just because of the little man, Lionel Messi. Could there be, but the fact of the case is, you cannot write off Venezuela.
Yeah, definitely.
You do that to your own peril, and it could be tricky.
That's the reason Tata Martino is saying that, look, Messi will have to start that one. That's the game they're actually keeping him for, because they know the tournament starts right now. Other groups, they had it so easy, very easy. No team actually troubled them at all. Now, against Venezuela, they know they have to be at their very best to be able to win this game. It's going to be very tough for the Argentines. I don't think they're going to have that kind of stroll that they had in other group stage. So it's going to be hard for them. Should Messi play? Angel Di Maria, of course, he was injured in the game they played against the second group game before this last game that they played. So he wasn't.
There are doubts that he may not be able to come back for the games of Copa America.
Yeah, that's what they say.
But I'm sure the doctors will be working extra hard on him
to make sure he's fit. But it shows that Argentina happens not to be a one-man team.
All
of them can play. Gonzalo Higuain, you know, we saw the
Aguero, Lavezzi, Banega. You can mention everybody.
There's quality in the team. So I think Argentina against Venezuela, I think they're definitely going to put this one up.
I said I was going to ask you. I think it's time for me to just ask you now. Brazil is out. Argentina are now everybody's favorite to win the Copa America. But let's just look back at Brazil. Really stumbled in this competition. What's the future for Brazil without Dunga? The Olympic Games are fast approaching. They have to look for a coach from somewhere very quickly.
Yeah, definitely. They just have to. Now, if you look at what Dunga has done with the Brazilian team, he hasn't built anything at all. So whatever any coach that's going to come in now will have a whole lot of job to do. There are speculations around everywhere that Corinthians coach is definitely going to come in for them because of what he has achieved with his club side right there in Brazil. But the question you're going to ask is what has Dunga, what has he really done that the coach that will be coming in to actually build on? Neymar is now the captain. Will he want to accept him as captain? Thiago Silva wasn't even listed for Copa America.
But Dunga left out a number of key Brazilian guys, and then injuries also affected him in the build-up to the tournament.
But what if he had actually looked at these key players that were always with the Brazilian national team? I understand what happened when they hosted the last World Cup and all that. Most of the big players didn't play well. The 7-1 demolition, the Germans, did against them and all that. I felt they should have been able to build from there and not rely on Neymar. But from 2014 to 2016, they haven't really moved up
too much
at all. Now, take a look at their qualifiers for the World Cup also. They actually sit on the South American qualifier table. So it shows that they're even outside qualifications for the tournament. So for Brazil, I think they actually need to start all over again. Just look at all the key players across the globe and see how they can actually put all of them together, and also get a good coach that will understand the player, and also maybe, whatever his tactics is going to bring in, that Brazilian strength that we know, the good games that we know, not the defensive style of play and all that. He might just bring that in. Maybe that would just be the future for Brazil.
Yeah, Tony, well, the future for Brazil, the immediate future surely has to be, winning gold at the Rio 2016 Olympics. That's what they're thinking about now, and that's why any moment from now we hear they're going to appoint some coach Tite, like Cecilia mentioned, former coach of Corinthians. He's done great things, leading Corinthians to the Serie A title in Brazil. He's won the Copa Libertadores as well. So he's a good coach. It was actually
Club World Cup also.
Yeah, it was actually the favorite to replace Scolari, after the World Cup. But they reappointed Dunga, which was a strange decision for me now. But it looks like it's all back to Coach Tite now, and Brazil need to pick themselves up. No time to lick their wounds. The next competition is around the corner.
Before we wrap this up in about 30 seconds, guys, Argentina are now everybody's favorite to win Copa America. Finally, it could just happen for Lionel Messi and his gang.
Yeah, definitely. Everyone is actually rooting for them right now. Lionel Messi has done so much, with the Argentina national team. And take a look at 3 years in a row now. In 2014, finalist at the World Cup. Last year, finalist at Copa America. And right now, I think this is actually the time for them to win something. If not for anybody, but at least for Lionel Messi.
Yeah, it's getting closer. It's getting closer, but it's still a long way to go. It's the quarterfinals, but you expect them to beat Venezuela. And whoever they meet in the semis, it might be a bit trickier than Venezuela. But I understand why pundits think Argentina are favorites, but there's still some quality sides in this competition. Chile,
tricky sides.
Chile, you can never rule them out. Even the USA, I said it at the start of the competition that I expect nothing less than the last 4 finish for them. Then the quarters now, I hope they get into the semifinals as well.
How about Mexico?
Yeah, they could also be there. Outsiders to it, and anything could still happen. All right, that's guys. I must thank you, Tayo. Sisi, thank you for coming on Sports Tonight. Sports Tonight, of course, will continue, but we want you to keep this conversation going. Talk to us on social media, on Twitter. You know our handles already. What do you feel? Who do you see at the end of the day lifting the Copa America trophy? That's how we have to wrap it up on this segment. Sports Tonight continues in a moment.